Let me ask you a question. Do you talk to yourself? Do you have an inner conversation? Of course you do. We all do. Now, the question is your inner conversation helping you heal or keeping you stuck in pain? Because your inner conversation actually can be a bridge to healing or a prison of suffering. That can happen. I hear this so many times when working with clients going through a loss, that they tell me, Ligia, I have this way that I talk to myself, that I hear these things that I say to myself that are not helping me. That's why I wanted to bring this message, because it happens. The thing is that we are not aware that we are doing it. And we always have an inner conversation, not only with grief, but in any context. However, because our topic is grief, I want to share this message to you because I want to help you in your grieving process. In this episode, you will become aware of how you talk to yourself, and you will also understand how this message is affecting your grief. Because you know what is interesting? That we pay attention to what other people tell us. Because we know that, when we are grieving, people make comments that they are not always helpful. Sometimes they say things that, on the contrary, they may sound that they're not understanding us. They want to take us away from the pain, or they want to fix us. And we pay attention to those comments because that's what people tell me. And I've been there as well. However, what about the comments, the messages, the things we say to ourselves? Hello, this is Ligia Huben. If this is the first time you are coming to this podcast, if you're listening, thank you for being here. I give you a warm welcome. And I do this with all my heart because I want to help you in this process. And I hope that the message that I'm sharing with you today about our inner conversation can be of great value to you. As a thanatologist and grief specialist, I've been accompanying the griever for many years, and this is one of the most important things I can share with you because it's one of the most common things I hear, how people are talking to themselves. Now, where do we start? How do we know? The first thing you want to do is pay attention to that inner conversation because we do have it. Actually, I'll share this story with you. For 5 years, I presented my seminar, Transforming Grief and Loss, for PESI. PESI is an organization that offers continuing education credits for mental health professionals. And it's based on my methodology, the 11 Principles of Transformation. So when I would present, I would always ask them, because in the principles, there's one that has to do with how we think, how we talk to ourselves and all that. I would ask the public, the mental health professionals, please raise your hand if you ever talk to yourself, if you have an inner conversation. Every single person would raise their hands. And sometimes I wanted to be funny, and say, Ligia, can I raise both hands? Like meaning, I'm always talking to myself, because we always do. Now, my question to you is this. The way you talk to yourself, is it kind? Is it compassionate? Is it understanding? Is it encouraging? Because we want to pay attention. How is that we are talking to ourselves? Or, on the contrary, is it harsh? Is it judgmental? You say, you see, you did this again. Because sometimes they start with that back and forth, saying things to themselves that are not helping them. They can be very judgmental. Are you? Pay attention, because it is not helping you. Also, are you unforgiven? Maybe that conversation has to do with guilt. That conversation has to do with the things you did or the things you did not. And then it's unforgiven. Is that type of conversation the one that is going on in your head? Because it's always important to know how we talk to ourselves. Actually, there is a book that I want to recommend to you. It's great, it's fantastic. It is written by a psychologist, Chad Helmstetter, and the title is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. What to say when you talk to yourself. Listen to that title. What does that say to you? The importance of paying attention to how we talk to ourselves. And that's why when we are talking about grief, I would say that it becomes even more important. Do you know why? Because it's always important. However, when we are grieving, we are so vulnerable. We are in that raw state, so painful. So, paying attention to those messages can make a difference. Can make a difference in how we are processing our grief, in how we are evolving, because that's what we want to do. Because it's a process and we are moving along. When I have the groups here at the center, the program that I have for 8 weeks, Transforming Grief and Loss, the one I mentioned to you that I did for the mental health professionals. But in this case, when I have it at the center, is for the person going through the loss, not that we process together. And I put them because we have the presentation, then we have a big circle all together, and then I like to separate them in groups so they can start sharing, at a deeper level, more profound. So they like that a lot. And when we're doing this exercise about inner conversation, that's what I ask them to do, to start sharing with them, with each other, what they're saying to themselves. What are the things that they are noticing that are not helping them? When they start talking, they realize this is not helpful, the way I'm talking to myself. Because they may say things such as, because what I do is I ask them, okay, share with each other, what you're saying. Because what I want them to do is, besides that, they have also their handouts, so they can write that down. And then notice how you say it. For example, they may say, I will never be happy again. Yes, it will never. And you start, back and forth in your mind. Of course you will not. How come you can be happy without your loved one? And I understand that. Remember, I am a bereaved daughter and sister. I understand that. However, paying attention what we're saying to ourselves. Or to say, I will never be able to move forward. Or the pain will never get better. Things like this, the pain will always feel the same. Things like these stay there. And what happens is that it's not helping us. So when they do it in a group, then they come up with ideas that can shift the way they are saying that, the way they are engaging, with themselves in that inner conversation, and they can change that. Because our thoughts are not only thoughts, and we create them. We said that in another episode. We create them, therefore we can change them. But the thoughts are messages we are saying to ourselves. And our messages, they shape our nervous system, our emotion. They shape our hope. Yes, if we have hope or not, it will be based on the messages we're saying to ourselves. They shape our future. So paying attention to that is the first thing we want to do. Because, for example, having to do with the comments, right? What would you do if a friend came and told you, I will never be happy again? What would you say to that person? Yes, you are right. You'll never be happy again. Most likely you will not. However, what would you say to yourself if you said that? I'll never be happy again. Yeah, how will I? Then you say to yourself things that you will never say to a friend that is telling you that. Okay? Now, what makes you say things to yourself that you would never say to a stranger? Have you ever asked that? Have you ever asked that to yourself? What makes you say that? Sometimes we come up with, sometimes people insult themselves, say things to themselves that they will never say it out loud. And in grief, we go into those messages. So the first thing you want to do is to pay attention. And well, that takes me to the 3 ways you can change your inner conversation. This takes me to share with you how you can change this, okay? So the first one is start noticing. Yes, start noticing what you are thinking, how you are talking to yourself. And in this is not to judge yourself. No judgment whatsoever. Just notice your thoughts. Just notice. Remember, awareness, being mindful of our thoughts, of our conversation, being aware of that, it is the first step to healing, to evolve. That is the first thing you can do. Now, the second step is ask the compassionate question. Would I say this to someone else? Would I say what I'm saying to myself to someone else? And even ask the second question. What would I say to that person? That can open your heart. That can help you. The third thing you can do is just moving a little bit. That the shift is not like 180 degrees. No, just a little. Not instead of feeling, so sad and limited and all that, you become suddenly so positive that you will not believe in yourself. I don't want that for you. What I want for you is to be softer, to be motivating, to be inspired, and to believe that you can do something a little better, that you can take steps that can make you feel better. Not totally that you'll never have pain again, because we don't want to lie to ourselves. But we can say, yes, the pain, I feel this pain and it's strong. However, I know that taking steps forward, I can help myself feel better. Because you are saying something that it's real. Instead of saying, I will never be happy again, you can say to yourself, I don't know how yet, however, I know that I can do things to start opening my heart to feel joy little by little. So you do things little by little, but shifting the way you talk to yourself. Because what we want is to be realistic in a beautiful way. Realistic in a way that you open your heart to this possibility. I want to say this to you, something that I want you to remember because it's super, super important. The most important relationship we can have is the one we have with ourselves. And that relationship has to do a lot with how we talk to ourselves. Remember, you deserve kindness. You deserve care. You deserve love. Always, especially in grief. Always remember that. If this message has resonated with you, I would greatly appreciate if you gave me a like, subscribe, and to share it with others. Because you know what is beautiful? The domino effect, to help others. Because I'm bringing this message with the intention to help you, to help you. And then, as you share the message with another person, you are helping them as well. Because maybe when you share that message, you know, this message, that person is having an inner conversation that is hurtful, that is keeping them in that suffering place. When they hear this, they say, oh, I can change that inner conversation. Or maybe they didn't even know before that they had it. And now they are aware and they can start taking, little steps to make it better. Thank you so much for being here, from my heart to yours.